B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading back out west to talk about one of the most iconic artists in hip-hop history, from world-class wrecking crew, NWA, Death Row Records, from giving us Snoop Dogg, Eminem, The Game, Kendrick Lamar. Andre Young is one of the best behind the boards ever, and he's also a very capable MC. Top 10 Dr. Dre songs. Joining me is Diz Mega, Brad Sadler, Riplak, and as always, my co-host with the most, Raven Hunter. So I will start it with an album and a song I don't think anyone's going to pick because this project always gets shitted on. But I'm going to 1996 as a nasty compilation. Dr. Dre presents The Aftermath, and I'm doing it. I'm going with Been There, Done That. I know it gets hate, but I always kind of like this track. And I was happy to see Dre leave Death Row in this era because for the very same reason I didn't like it when Pac got out of jail and signed with Death Row, because I knew that was a train that was heading for a brick wall. I could see it then, even in my teens, in this era, late teens. It was like I hated when Pac signed with it, and I was like, Dre made the right choice by leaving. And yes, this song's a little more flossy than Gangsta, but I always sing along. And people who shit on this album, listen to that King T song, Straight Gone, and don't tell me that's like the shit. So I wanted to show love to the Aftermath compilation, so I threw it at number 10. Diz, what's your number 10?
All right, so I'm probably breaking a rule here, but what I got is right off the Chronic, and I'm just gonna use the intro. Dre does not rap on the intro. It's just Snoop Dogg going wild, dissing Ruthless, Jerry Heller, whatever. But it is like the coolest beat ever to get into a record, man. Just it gets me hyped every time I hear it. I'm like, I am ready. Like it's an intro I never skip. I never skip the intro. The beat is wild, man. And Dre, on the cut there, just it's awesome. I don't know if it would ever make the list of anything unless we did something about intros, but I had to call it out today as like, you know what? I love this intro. It's at least going to be number 10 for me. So.
Yeah, no doubt about it, it's iconic. And no, that it's on his album, so it counts. Trust me, people will break the rules much worse than that. Just stay tuned. All right, Raven, what is your number 10?
Number 10, I went with one of the only newer songs. I think I might have two new songs on this list from Dre. It was from, I think 2020 is Kush with Snoop Dogg and Akon, because I loved the beat and the hook. And I don't know, it's one of the more classic Dre sounding songs that he's done in the past like 10 years. So I wanted to give something new, at least something, a little bit of love on this list. So I went with Kush.
Was that on The Contract project? Because going through this,
Kush, I think Kush was just an actual single that he dropped in like 2020. Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the GTA 5 contract.
Yeah, that one. I had totally forgot about that record.
Same.
All right, Brad, what's your number 10?
I gotta check out that song that you just mentioned, Kush. I really like Akon. I love the sound of his voice, so I imagine that's a good song.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
I'm going here. This is the original press of Straight Outta Compton, still in the shrink. And I am going with the song that obeys the rules, Express Yourself. If you just listen to this song, which I think was a single, you would think that NWA was kind of this wholesome group. They're against doing drugs, and Dre sounds kind of nice. But the sample for that song it's really pleasant. It's fun to rap along to, and knowing that in a couple of years he's going to drop the Chronic after rapping that it's just awesome. But I always love that song. So I've said this a million times. I came into hip hop late. I came into it with the Chronic, and then went back and found NWA. And when I heard Straight Outta Compton, immediately Express Yourself, I was like, oh yeah, this is I like really musical sounding stuff with great samples, and so I couldn't leave it off. Put it in at number 10, and I had to get my vinyl collection out to show that I've had it on for a while.
Well, that was an honorable mention. That would have been my number 11. As a kid, I loved that song. But speaking about that single, there's an extended remix that before every Dre verse, different members of NWA like Cube, Ren do like a 4-bar little verse and go right. I love that version.
The extended mix is
Yeah.
awesome.
It is
actually.
amazing. Yep.
That's why I bought this 12-inch to get that, because you get all the other guys rapping on it as
Yeah,
well.
that is one of the best remixes, extended mixes to the song ever. Riplak, what is your number 10?
So have you guys seen The Wash?
Yes.
I oddly was obsessed with that movie, maybe my favorite movie for some reason.
Oh,
And by the way, go listen to Kush, because that song's in my head now. But it did not make my list, but it almost did. Bad Intentions with Nocturnal. Nocturnal was supposed to be one of Dre's guys that kind of fell right off. But that song was so catchy. And at the I don't know if it was a bonus feature or just at the end of the movie, they rolled the video for Bad Intentions, and it's super catchy. I love it. And the video is awesome. Women everywhere. I thought Nocturnal might have, been something after that hook. But if you haven't heard that song, go check that out.
and I think it was also on Nocturnal had 2 albums that I remember. Well, 1 EP and 1 album. And I think that song is on his album too. But what sticks out to me about the Wash soundtrack is that's the first time we heard Dre and Snoop back together post Death Row. So I remember that being a big deal. I bought the soundtrack just to hear that. It was the first time they came back together. It was a big deal. So
I like other songs on there, and I like, The Wash, the song, and like there's a couple on there that I do like, but to me they're not like, oh, those are like classic Dre songs, but with the movie they fit. So they didn't make mine, but Bad Intentions hit that 10 just because of how catchy it was. I know Nocturnal had a hit at that time, but kind of hit. I mean, he didn't like blow up, but.
Well, since we're talking about The Wash, I had the song The Wash from the soundtrack as honorable mention.
Yeah,
so I'm glad someone else had that in mind, the Wash soundtrack. It was a big deal. Dre and Snoop back together? Shit. So we will go to number 9. And I'm going to go to an album that Raven fucking hates. That's 2015's Compton. And this is the only time I'm going to go there. And the song is Medicine Man featuring Eminem. And Dre just go off in this verse. And the Compton album, I remember buying it when it dropped. I was actually in the Dominican Republic. I bought this album in Punta Cana, a new Dre project, and fucking hated it. I listened to it maybe twice and didn't listen to it again for over 5 years. But doing this, it's kind of grown on me a little bit, and I don't know why. But Medicine Man, it's a faster beat, but Dre keeps up. Eminem does his thing, haunting hook. It's just weird how this grew on me for some reason. But I agree with you guys. When it came out, what a disappointment. He's trying to rap like Kendrick Lamar, kinda. He's kind of changing his flow. I just wasn't a fan. But Medicine Man, I like. That shit's dope. I don't care what you say, Raven. That's the shit, and that's my number 9. Diz, what is your number 9?
Number 9 is Explosive with Hitman, Nate Dogg Corrupt. I like that song. It's one of my favorites on that record. I didn't actually even like the record when it first came out, but this song kind of leaked early, and it was actually more of a dedication to Eazy-E, if I remember correctly. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that, but you might be able to YouTube it. But I thought it was the beat is pretty cool. Nate Dogg, who can beat Nate Dogg at a hook, and his singing on here is just classic. And it ended up being one of my favorite Dre songs in the end. And I warmed up to the entire record actually after I don't know how long it took, but I didn't like the whole structure of the record at first, and I didn't really care for Hitman, but he kind of grew on me. And he's got a solo out there that's worth listening to as well. So Explosive is just one of those songs that became one of my favorites from Dre. And there's a couple versions of it out there worth checking out.
When I went back through 2001 for this, I was like, oh yeah, that's on here. Oh yeah, that's on here. You forget how many, I had forgotten about all the really dope tracks on 2001. And yeah, it's not The Chronic, but it's still a really, not only a good record, but it holds up, which is now 25 years later. which is
Yeah, it does
crazy to
hold
think.
up.
It holds up really, really well.
There was a lot of leaks for that 2001 album. When I
Yeah.
was going through, I pulled out vinyl for almost every pick I have. And I was going through my vinyl and I bought, because I was such a huge like Dre and Snoop and Eminem fan, they would like leak all these songs over the years between, you know, when the Chronic came out and then Chronic 2001 came out. And I have a bunch of just unreleased tracks that Dre did in the studio. I don't know if I have that, like whatever the original Explosive was, but I have like 3 or 4 12 inches that are
Like
studio.
test presses?
They're like bootlegs, I think. Like they just got leaked from the studio and they made
Someone
12.
pressed them. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
and I've been always like meaning to look them up and see like, you know, like does anyone else have these? But I would buy back then. I would buy anything that had Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg's name on it. Didn't matter what it was. I would just order it and buy it. I haven't listened to him in years.
Raven, what's your number 9?
Number 9, I went to the Chronic for the first time on my list. Rat-a-tat-tat. It's just a really hard song, hard ass beat. Many songs on that album stand out. It's kind of hard to just say that's a standout, but it's a super just dope beat. I love the beat. Everybody on that shit flows. Rat-a-tat.
And the hook, memorable. I'm singing it in my
Yeah,
head now. What a memorable
exactly.
hook. No doubt about it. Now, number 9, Brad.
All right. I am also going to the Chronic. First of all, I wanted to point out this. I bought this many years ago. This is the promo original CD release for the Chronic. It came with rolling papers.
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I've never seen
That's so
one in
dope.
person.
I got this super cheap on this old site called Gem. It was $50 on the side. I didn't know what it was.
Shit.
And I have been offered thousands.
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I've never seen one. With the
Yeah.
rolling papers, and the rolling
I had
papers
a
are
wrapper.
still in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's still in there.
that's
I've
crazy.
not used the
Yeah, you haven't rolled any blunts with them.
I actually had a rapper, like a B, C level rapper, like offering me money to get to buy this, and it was thousands of dollars. Like I think some have sold for like $5,000. But anyways, I got this for $50. I also have the original press of the Chronic as well on vinyl, which is also pretty rare. But everyone has to know that I was going to pick Stranded on Death Row because everyone has to know I love Bushwick Bill. And this is Bushwick Bill's, he has the intro and outro of the song. But in addition, so I have a lot to say about the song, and I'm sorry if I take up a lot of time about it. So the thing that I love about the Chronic, so when I first listened to the Chronic, it was the singles, right? Like Dre Day, Nothing But a G Thing, and Let Me Ride. You know, those songs like immediately caught me and hooked me. And the other songs I was like, you know, but over time, you know, like those songs, I got listened to the singles a lot, and they kind of like, you know, they're great, but like, you know, I've listened to them a million times. And then as those were declining, the other songs started peaking. And so like that song, Stranded on Death Row, not only does it have Bushwick, but it's got a great verse from Corrupt. It's got an awesome verse. You actually, many songs go by without Snoop Dogg on the album, and then he comes in with that just really killer rap. And the cool thing about that song is he mentions Peter Man in there, who is Big Mike, who's in the Convicts, and like Snoop and the Convicts were hanging around. And if you remember on Ghetto Boys, on Big Mike's solo song in there, No Nuts Nor Glory, he's like, you know, like my Snoop Dogg told me. So they both kind of mention each other in their respective songs. So it's kind of like a cool little esoteric a thing that I'm like, oh yeah, I think they like shared an apartment at one point. And if you Google Snoop Dogg and the Convicts, there's like a unreleased demo of them actually rapping together as well too. It sounds really shitty.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And it's amazing what the Chronic, you know, although Snoop was on deep cover first, but it really is what really introduced us to Snoop, Corrupt, Daz, Nate Dogg, Lady of Rage. I mean, the people who would go on and branch out. Oh,
Exactly.
and Jewel. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's just amazing. Not only the iconic songs, who he introduced, those like posse tracks, even if Dre's not on it, like Stranded on Death Row, are just so iconic. They age so well. And that's crazy. I've heard of that long box, but I had never saw one, just heard about it. So that's pretty cool to see that.
They reissued this recently. This
For
is the
Record Store Day, right?
yeah, you can
Yeah.
it was like they had all these chronic because it was like 30 years or yeah, was it 30 years? 30 years after the
Yeah.
crash. They had all these releases and they actually released one with the rolling papers.
Oh, did
But
they?
yeah, this is the original.
All right. Riplak, what is your number 9?
I picked one from another soundtrack. Keep their
Nice.
head ringing. I was at the right age when it came out, and he had all those little wordplay in there. I loved it. Yeah, I went and got the cassette tape, all that shit.
What an amazing
Another
soundtrack.
soundtrack.
Facts.
Yeah, it was.
No.
It was.
I know for a fact that when we did the top 10 soundtracks, that made everyone's. And it even kind of gets downgraded. The last 3 or 4 songs aren't even hip hop songs. So I never even listened to them. But like that first 9, 10 songs are just so amazing. And Dre's actually up to that point, I think that's the most lyrical Dre had ever been on Keep Their Heads Ringing. He wasn't doing Rakim lyrics, but he was more lyrical than he was ever in NWA or even the Chronic. So I don't know who wrote his verse because usually people are writing his verses.
Yeah, I assumed that, but
Yeah.
But it was fun at my age hearing that shit, and it was
Yeah, the KRS One
like
sample.
I'm just probably should have went higher. I think I brought it up to you when I was messaging you about the rules.
Yeah, it counted.
Those are my soundtrack. I don't think I have any more.
All right. Well, we are to number 8, and I'm gonna go to 1999's 2001. And I'm going with the last song, The Message. Now, by now, everyone knows I'm a softie. I love personal, deep songs. And this is the first time Dre brings up his brother who got killed in '89. I had always known about it, but not that many details. Then when Straight Outta Compton, the movie, they addressed it in there. But pre that movie, I had known Dre had a brother who was killed, but it was just kind of like legend or lore because it was never talked about. And he brings it up on this, and it's a great beat. It's simple but perfect piano chords. And you got Mary J. Blige on the hook, which is the perfect person to have on a song remembering your brother who passed away. I just love it when artists bare their soul. As much as I love gangsta shit and all that, I love the on the real, just being a person, deep down songs. So I like The Message. It had to make my list. So that was my number 8. What about you, Diz?
I have one song from the Compton album, and it's the Compton track with Kendrick Lamar. I don't know if Kendrick Lamar is just piquing my curiosity lately with his beef with Drake and all that. But I dismissed the record after hearing it like once or twice as well. On revisiting though, I really like this track here. The beat, of course, is dope. Dre's
That's true.
behind it. Would be a nice one. But then when I was like really listening to the lyrics this time, and I like the way I mean, what can Dre really rap about anymore these days? So he's just on that living legend status. I appreciate the lyrics to Easy, Tupac, Left Eye, and I mean, he does kind of sound like he's rapping. Like you can tell Kendrick Lamar wrote the entire thing.
Right.
Kind of interesting that he's rapping like that, and hopefully he'll never do that again because I liked it better when the Doc or Snoop or if anybody else like writes it.
Right.
The Kendrick flavor is really for Kendrick, but I gotta put the song on the list. I like the song, I like the beat, I like the nods, and I right now Kendrick Dre, that I don't know what's going on, but Kendrick is just on the radar right now, and it just sounded fair to go ahead and put this one on my list here because I cherry picked the Compton song as at least one song that I really enjoyed from that entire soundtrack. So that's what I'm going with as my number 8.
Speaking of this whole Drake and Kendrick Lamar, I've tried. I work with people who are in their 20s, so these are the people they grew up loving. So it's a big deal, this battle, and they're trying to get me into it. So I listened to a couple tracks, and all I could think is, what happened to the No Vaselines and the hit 'em ups and the dollars and cents? It's like, this ain't real diss songs. it's such a letdown. I couldn't get into him at all.
But that DJ Mustard beat on Kendrick's last song is fucking fire. I love that. I do love that song. I've always liked DJ Mustard. I think that guy's awesome. And you know what's cool about Dre is that this guy has been bringing us rappers in one form or another since what, 1988. You know, starting with Eazy-E, then Snoop Dogg, then he kind of meandered for a bit, then Eminem, then 50 Cent, then The Game, and then Kendrick. And right now, Kendrick's like lord of the hip hop, of the, you know, not the non-mumble rap hip hop world anyways. But yeah, I think the disses were totally lame, but that DJ Mustard beat is awesome. I've been listening to that song a lot lately. My wife was like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "This DJ Mustard beat is awesome."
Number 8, Raven.
Fuck Compton. I hate that album, by the way. But yeah, let's see.
Such
Forgot
a
about
hater.
Dre. Yeah, forgot. Well, fuck that album, dude. It's a Kendrick Lamar album that Dr. Dre tries to flow to. And I don't like Kendrick Lamar. I don't like his bullshit spoken word fake rapping either. Like fuck Kendrick Lamar.
It's personal.
Okay.
Shit.
Okay. But anyway, yeah,
Oh,
forgot
wait.
about Dre with Eminem from the Chronic 2001. Super dope beat. And Dre never really flowed quite like he flows in that track. And you can tell M has his hand all over that album and in the song especially. But it worked really well. This super memorable song from that album.
Well, so speaking on the last track where you could tell Kendrick wrote it and Dre tries to rap like Kendrick and it doesn't work. You can tell M wrote his verse, but it actually works. He does really well over that Forgot About Dre beat, and that was an honorable mention. I mean, it's such a catchy beat, and Dre does really, really well. And you know, M kills it too. He has some great lines. So
Good music video too.
yeah, is that where he's getting pulled over by the cops and he's all drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that probably would have been like my 13 or 14 if we had a longer list. So glad I got brought up. Brad, what's your number 8?
Just to kind of pony on
Yeah.
that what was said there. First of all, I really wanted to like Kendrick. I bought the albums, and I agree. Like generally, I really his rapping is too dense, and most of the beats are just kind of like weak.
Thank you.
But the other person who was writing Dre's stuff then was Royce, the 5'9", and he actually got like kind of like the story is it went to his head, and he was kind of talking shit about Dre, and that's when Eminem and Royce had that fallout for a few years, and then Royce had to, I guess, apologize or whatever. So a lot of the stuff and the way that Dre's rapping on Chronic 2001 is also Royce influence as well too. So heading right into Chronic 2001, this is a vinyl I bought when it came out, which also original press, which is also incredibly pretty rare. It's a promo with the little hype sticker. I went with to me the best song on the track, still DRE. This is the single with a nice green vinyl. That piano, I mean, everyone knows that piano. I mean, just when that hits, it's just like you just know that song is fucking killer. And honestly, for me, it's like Dre and Snoop together. Yes, Dre and Eminem are pretty good, but Dre and Snoop, man, something about those two. It's just fucking amazing.
It was special, and that was the first single too. I mean, perfect first single for that record. Video too is just a classic West Coast with low riders and half naked women. Number 8, Riplak.
I'm going with one of two from Compton. Surprisingly, I didn't think any would make it, but I had to pick Animals with Anthony Pack because
the lyrics are dope on that. Actually,
yeah, it's so good. Well, it's just so good for that time because there was a lot of like rioting going on, and just the way everyone's like talking about how they're animals, and you know, just the narrative, and they're just like kind of debunking the view on it, media and everything. So I just love how like this was the introduction to the world of Anderson .Paak, and he had his more like now he's on, you know, he's on the radio making hits, singing with Bruno and whatever else he's doing. But this was more of his like actual like kind of gangster side, but like his like speaking outside as well. And I love that that's one of the songs that he started kind of like. I wasn't like a huge fan of that album or anything.
No,
That
I know I love the message and the words in that song. That was a
yeah,
standout.
that song and another one that I'm gonna bring up, but like outside of that, everything else was kind of the same to me. It was like, I mean, it's not a bad album. I'm not gonna say that, but like Dre was like putting off Detox forever because nothing was ever good for him. Nothing was ever good enough. And like even when he was working with like Ice Cube, they knew when they like during that project, they knew when they stepped in, like it had to be perfect and he'd be really tough on everybody. So I think that's kind of where he was on this. I don't know if he was actually I'm assuming, I'm making assumptions, but that he might not have been like all the way happy with it because he didn't promote it at all. It just came out Compton and then
Right.
but with Animals came out and it was just like that was it for me just because of the timing. I love that song.
Like I said, it kind of has grown on me going back over it, and I don't know why. I'm not saying I love it, but that's a one of a handful of songs that I kind of was all right. It was growing on me. So that, if you're gonna pick something off of Compton, that's a good one. So we are to number 7. For the first time, I'm going to the legendary 1992's The Chronic, and I'm going with Little Ghetto Boy. This beat is just so damn good. And although Snoop does 2 verses and Dre just one, this beat just gets me. It's great subject matter. The lyrics fit perfectly. And Nate Dogg on the hook. We talked about it before. You can never go wrong with Nate Dogg on the hook. We could almost do a top 10 Nate Dogg hooks. That might be a fun.
Ooh, that'd be a
But
tough one.
but I just bob my head every time I hear this. But I wanted to bring up the video. It's a very weird video. Well, no, it's not weird until certain moments. Like the first verse, there's a prison scene and prison riots, but then like way in the distance is just the floating head of Snoop, and it's slowly coming towards you and rapping like a ghost over this prison scene. Then the second verse, Dre, same thing. It's like this disembodied head. People, you got to go back and look at this. This is the strangest directing decision of all time. It's just these floating heads slowly coming at you with the scene playing out in the background. It's the weirdest shit ever. But I love the beat. I love the song. Little Ghetto Boy. That's my number 7. Diz, what's yours?
Number 7 for me is What's the Difference from Dre 2001. You know, I like the subject matter. We got some like some disses without really saying any names, pretty much. The instrumental of this album, I bet nobody picked an instrumental, of course, but you know, I listened to the instrumental of this
Right.
album, and this song right here, even without the words, maybe even better without the words, it's just excellent. When you listen to the soundtrack of this, or if you just listen to the beats without the rhymes and everything, it still hits pretty good. It's just a geniusly orchestrated, architected, whatever you want to say, beat. And I know Dre always has help with others, and what they did here was maybe the best beat on this record. Overall, if we're just talking about beats, What's the Difference might be the ultimate one on this record. It just can't be denied. You know, I typically don't. I'm not like this big Eminem fan necessarily, but even I couldn't deny this song. I was like, no, this is good. Even Eminem, what he says is pretty hilarious and good. You know, the what he's writing here sounds right up the uh, Detroit crazy vibe-ish type of lyrics, and it made my top 7. Man, What's the Difference?
That was an honorable mention, and they released that whole album, just the instrumentals too. I'm sure
Yep.
you guys seen that. And I don't know if you've seen ads there. I was hoping they'd come through Milwaukee, but they're not. But there's this tour going on where it's a full orchestra just performing Dr. Dre's music. Did you guys, has any of you seen that?
No, I want to.
Oh, it's so intriguing to me. I watched a little promo video. It's this full orchestra just like doing all these Dr. Dre beats and songs, and they're not coming through my city, but it seems
That's going on now.
yeah, it's going on right now.
I
It's
might
like
check and see if it's in
it's
Florida.
yeah, it's like the Dr. Dre experience or something like that, but it's an orchestra just doing the instrumentals of Dre songs. It looked really cool to me. Raven, what's your number 7?
I went with still DRE with Snoop Dogg. because I love that beat. That was a classic summer beat when that single came out. Like I remember just playing that song so fucking much that summer. And it was just Snoop and Dre back together was great, and it set up perfectly Dre's new album. And not every song on Dre's new album hits like that. You know what I mean? 2001 didn't hit like The Chronic did, but and actually speaking on the instrumental CD, some of the tracks actually are better without lyrics. Oddly enough, songs I don't care for as much on the album. The beats just go hard, but yeah. Anyways, still Dre. Yeah, still DRE.
So we are at 7. Brad, what's your number 7?
Well, I was either going to do Forget About Dre or Guilty Conscience, and I actually had the vinyl for the Guilty Conscience single. So I was like, oh, I've got vinyl for everything else. So that's it. That's my number 7. We talked about this song, I think on the Eminem. I didn't pick it then, but I'm picking it now. It's an awesome song. And once it got picked, I was like, I did not pick that song. It's so good. Like the whole storyline and everything. It's just it's an awesome song.
No, it was a great concept, and they play it perfectly right up to the end. So, Riplak, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is Forgot About Dre. There was so much high expectations after Guilty Conscious and stuff like that, where they came out to collab on a big song, and that one had everybody's attention. I really think maybe it could have been higher, but like we've talked about before about this album, I got so sick of it because everybody in my area played it over and over. You could drive by every car I was playing it to the point I just couldn't even listen to it anymore. I can't. Like there's some songs I can listen to, but like at this point, yeah, Forgot About Dre was awesome. They both did so good, and it's just so like it's kind of a faster pace, like catchy.
And you're right, that album was getting played everywhere, every day, nonstop. All right, I'm going for my number 6 back to that album, 99's 2001. And 2 of you already brought it up, so I might as well. Still DRE. Pretty much everything's been said. The iconic beat, the reunited with Snoop, the video, and the first single. We talked about it all, but it just was the perfect single to welcome Dre back. So still DRE made my number 6. No need to ramble. Diz, what's your number 6?
Number 6 is I gotta go with California Love, the original version. I didn't really care for the Tupac version as much, but I did love that one. The video was pretty cool. You know, what can you say? You can hear it at football games still. If they're a West Coast team and basketball games, it's that iconic. And even Scarface did his own spin on it, which I really enjoyed too. You know, with I think he put Tila on there and Devin the Dude. Anyways, California Love. It's just an iconic West Coast track. Can't be denied. Like I hate to use that, but California Love really just, it's a West Coast icon of a song. So that's what I got. Number 6.
It's definitely iconic. Non-rap fans even know that song if it comes on. I mean, it's that big of a deal, and great beat. And I know they, like you said, they made 2 versions of it, and it was originally just a Dre song, and then when Pac got out, he, got put on it, and that's what most people remember. But no doubt, one of Dre's best beats. We are on 6, and we are on Raven.
I stayed on 2001 again, and it's already been talked about, but what's the difference with Eminem and Exhibit? Because the beat is fire. I love Exhibit, super underrated, and he was awesome in that song. And Eminem's verse was awesome in that track. Dre sounded great with them. So yeah, what's the difference? It's definitely one of the top 3 beats on that album for sure.
Number 6, Brad.
All right. Well, I actually do have the vinyl for this, but I moved it and couldn't find it, and I was racing around. But it's from the Murder Was the Case soundtrack, which was really just an 18-minute video, not really a movie. But this was Natural Born Killers with Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. So when this came out, it was like Dre and Cube were kind of back together, and they were supposed to do like some kind of like wicked shit type album. That was right around the time that, Detroit was kind of making was getting known, like ICP and Esham. And then there was like some New York stuff with the Gravediggers and some other people, Flatliners. And Dre and Cube were supposed to do their little spin on it, and Natural Born Killers was like, oh, it got me so hyped for this album that was supposed to come out, which never came out. But we were left with this fucking awesome song, and that is my number 7.
Yeah, Helter Skelter was the name of the project.
Yes, that's it.
I was
DOC took that over.
so excited for that record. Think of what we would have got, a whole record with Cuba Dre. Shit.
I mean, they made posters for that record.
Yeah, it was getting promoted.
Yeah, my girlfriend back then had the Helter Skelter poster in her bedroom, I remember, with Dr. Dre on it.
Fuck,
The
I
record
want
just
that
never
poster.
existed.
I didn't know there was a poster for it. I gotta find it.
The
Yeah.
DOC took over that Helter Skelter project.
And then he released the Helter Skelter album. But if we could have got the first one with Dre and
It would have
Cube,
been so fucking good.
it would
Probably one of the best albums ever recorded.
it
Easily.
would have been amazing if it was anything like that one song.
That was
Definitely.
when Dre and Cube were like pinnacle. You know, I mean, the whole album of the man.
Yeah, it would have been mind blowing, no doubt about it. Riplak, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is still DRE, just like yours. So we don't have a lot to say. Obviously, it was a great single for that classic Dre beat, just in your face, like beautiful beat. Like nobody can ignore the damn song, and that's why Chronic 2001 was instantly selling.
Just that piano chord.
Yeah.
I mean, damn,
Just
almost
ignore the song.
gives
Like,
you chills up
bring
your
you away
spine.
type of.
Yeah,
Got
amazing.
Snoop on it, which made it feel even more like it felt way better just because he was on it on his
Right.
first act. So it was great.
All right, we are halfway through. We are to number 5. And I'm going to take us to 1995's Friday soundtrack. You know the song, Keep Their Heads Ringing. Like I said, amazing soundtrack, amazing song. He was more lyrical on here than he had been up to that point. The KRS-One sample in the hook. And it's impossible not to bob my head when I hear this. And I even love the end when he's like, Death Row, let me know you're in the house. And they just all scream, biatch. I mean, shit, 95, that was right up my alley. So I was yelling biatch along with them. Such a great Dre song, and this is towards the end of his Death Row days. This might have been the last song he recorded for Death Row, actually, when I think about it. But he kills it. So Keep Your Heads Ringing was my number 5. Diz, what's yours?
Number 5, I got Hello, Ice Cube, Dre, Ren. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Sure do.
Landing on Ice Cube's Peace record, I believe.
Yes.
I don't see it anywhere else, but I know I heard it before that. I don't know. It's all a blur back then. But, speaking of records that just never happened, that reunion really just never happened.
Yeah.
I just chalked it up to like, well, I got some bonus material from these guys. I'm happy with that song. It was cool to hear Ren and Cube together and Dre of all people with them. That I don't remember if I think Chin Check might have came out before this.
I think before it, yeah.
It had been a while since I heard Dre and Ren on the same song, and I used to get pissed because he would come out like he came out in 2001. And I thought Ren was going to be on it, and all he did was like talk shit, and then he wasn't really on the song.
Right. He didn't spit a verse, yeah.
He didn't spit a verse, so I was kind of like, I got robbed, man. So to hear Dre and Ren again, along with Ice Cube was pretty dope. So Hello, man, pretty cool beat. Nice to hear these guys together, even without Easy, unfortunately. But Hello, that's my number 5.
Speaking on the NWA reunion, that's another thing that got promoted heavy. They were on the cover of The Source, might have been Vibe. I mean, and they were adding Snoop to the group was originally the plan. They promoted the hell out of the NWA reunion, and we got Chin Check and we got Hello and Crickets. Raven, what is your number 5?
Number 5, I had to keep it real and go with the classic. I went with Nothing But a G Thing from the Chronic. To this day, every time that beat hits, I just start rapping with it, start to finish. It was like an ultimate single, and I know it wasn't the first single from that album, I don't think, but it was definitely early single, if I'm not mistaken. And that I just remember I had to have that tape, like for sure, once I started hearing shit like that coming out.
Yeah, speaking about iconic, like what's still this is even more iconic, that beat. That might be one of his best beats of all time. Number five, Brad, what'd you have?
All right, and before I go into mine, I just want to say one more thing about the Hello song. The single for that is a really super cool purple vinyl, which is another reason I wanted to pick it. But anyways, I did not, but I'm glad somebody did, and I do wish we had had the NWA reunion. That was another thing I was really looking forward to. So I think that keep their heads ringing is the last like total Dre song he did, but obviously he worked on the Tupac
Right.
project. And, so I picked California Love. I actually like the remix, the kind of faster, bouncier version of it. And you can find it on the How Do You Want It single.
Riplak, what is your number five?
My number five is from Compton, Talking to My Diary.
My man.
Just really like it. Again, there's not a whole lot I like. There's a couple I do like from Compton, but I think Dre's on them. One of them is a John Connor, One Shot, One Kill, I believe.
Yeah, and Snoop
Love
kills
John.
that verse. Snoop
I
like
love
goes
John.
off on that song.
It says Snoop's in it, but I don't know where. I've never heard
No,
it.
he's the first
Why
verse. It
is
doesn't
he?
even sound like Snoop. He
Are you
like
kidding
raps
me?
really super fast. Yeah, it's crazy. He must drink some Red Bull or something. He just kills it and raps really
I
fast.
don't know, but that song doesn't even have Dre on it, and I'm like, man, I can't pick it. I mean, technically I could. It's on his album, but and also there's another one with the game on it
Yep.
on that album. It's really good, but I wanted stuff with Dre actually performing on it. Talking to My Diary is a song with just Dre. I
Yep.
mean, you have like Anderson .Paak doing a little bit of ad-libs in the back, but I mean, he's kind of all over that project. I just like it. It's just more of a personal song, but like it's also like really chill. Like when it comes on, I turn it up and
Well, that was an honorable mention for me. That was the other one I really loved off there. And it's similar to The Message from 2001's. It's a on the real, bearing your soul, kind of.
I actually thought the same thing when I heard it. I was like, this is like the message,
Yep.
and the message didn't make mine, but like just because talking to my diary, I like better in a way. I mean, I like it does get super personal on the other one, but
All right, number four. I'm going back to the Chronic, iconic 92. And I'm going with Let Me Ride. This beat and sample by Parliament is so iconic. And although this was a single, I always thought it was a little underrated due to being overshadowed by Dre Day and Nothing But a G Thing. I always thought it kind of underrated. People go to the Dre Day and G Thing, but I think Let Me Ride is a really strong song, a really great beat. And there's an iconic video, and it's just a moment that's important. But like after the second verse, I can remember seeing this on the old TV raps, my mind going crazy. All of a sudden, Ice Cube is there, and he's coming out of the women's bathroom, and he was saying, "Yep, it was a good day." But this is the first time we're seeing Dre and Cube together since NWA broke up. It had only been a few years before that No Vaseline was out. So to see Cube on a Dr. Dre video in 92 blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, did that just happen? So that always stuck out for me because of that. Video also has cameos from Rage, Warren G, DOC, Suge Knight. This just screams early Death Row Records. Let Me Ride was my number four. Diz, what's yours?
My number four is off the 2001 record "Fuck You" with Devin the Dude and Snoop Dogg. First of all, I didn't know how much I needed Snoop Dogg and Devin the Dude together on songs, and it wasn't the last one that they ever pulled off together. And those two together are just magic. They're kind of similar,
They are.
in some respects, with their topics and their humor. But I think Devin has the edge on some more light, like humorous shit. Like Devin could almost be a comedian, and you could hear that in the lyrics that like how he spits on this song. And then, the beat, of course, is one of my favorite 2001 beats. It just it slaps, it hits, it crawls, everything, and it just gets stuck in my head. And it could be one of my favorite Devin's. It's not a Devin song, but it's one of my favorite Devin verses, I think, and I love the song. So fuck you.
That's the hook first thing that comes to my mind is, and Devin and Snoop are both kind of laid back type flows, personalities. Like you said, Devin's probably more comedic, but they do work well together. They do work well together.
Yeah.
I'm singing that song in my head. Number 4, Raven.
Number 4, I went to the Friday soundtrack with Keep the Heads Ringing. Killer fucking beat. Reminded me why I love Dre when I heard that. Because the Chronic it'd been a little bit since the Chronic. I was always ready for a new album from any of my favorite rappers at the time. So when I finally got to hear something new from Dre, I was amped. And Keep the Heads Ringing hits, and it still hits today. I personally wasn't a big fan of the Aftermath project, which was coming soon after that, mainly just because that album's like 78% R&B, and that's not what I would look for in a Dre album. But yeah, Keep the Heads Ringing, that shit slap.
No doubt about it. And I know why people were upset with the Aftermath project, because you're expecting a new Chronic, right? That was the last album he did.
Yeah.
And you got this compilation that had some established artists like King T and Be Real and KRS One's in that Group Therapy. But then you had, like you said, R&B and some newer people no one ever
Dre's
heard
only
of.
in a couple of tracks on that shit too.
Yeah, he does Been There, Done That, and then he does like a verse and one more. And I think that's the only time you hear his voice, actually. But I always thought that Been There, Done That got a bad rap. But
I like
that's
that track. I always liked that track.
that and the King T song. Those are my two from that album. Otherwise, yeah, I don't even remember what them R&B groups were even named anymore off of that. We are at 4 and we are at Brad.
Yeah, Compton album and the Aftermath sampler are garbage. And the Firm wasn't very good either. I think Dre was really like
Firm was bad. I didn't like the Firm.
yeah, he was trying to figure stuff out, and really Eminem is what was the lifeline that got him back. But Raven and I often think alike. And with Beats So Funky, they come with a speed stick.
Yes.
At number 4, and I'm not going to belabor it. Everyone loves that song.
Great way to end his death row career. Number 4, Riplak, what do you got?
I love my diss songs. I got not still Dre Day. My bad. Dre Day. I was looking at my list wrong a little bit. That video was awesome. I just loved beefs, man. Like this always intrigued me. So I just loved both those guys in that song, just talking all their shit about everybody.
I brought this up on another podcast, I think, but when the Chronic came out, I had heard Dre Day and was like pissed, right? Because I loved Easy. So I didn't buy Chronic when it dropped. I was boycotting it for dissing Easy, which I was like, fuck Dre, he's a punk bitch. I just hated. And then everyone else and everywhere brought the Chronic, so I was hearing it every day. And about a month after it came out, I was like, this is a really good album. So I went out and bought it. And of course it was a classic, but I stayed strong for about 3 or 4 weeks, staying loyal to Ruthless and Easy. But you're right. This is Easy. This is Luke. This is Tim Dog. They can all eat a big fat dick. In the video, they got someone dressed up as Easy with Will Rap for food. Yeah. I mean, he just goes for the juggler.
Oh yeah. I was like that with Biggie too, though. Like back then, you're all like in it. You're like, "Fuck Biggie," like, and then it's like, dude, this dude's fucking sick. Like,
yeah, right.
What was I thinking about? But it's just it's crazy though, because like I loved all of them. I grew up on NWA.
Oh yeah.
But it was just like, man, I was just going for the fucking entertainment of it.
It's funny how that is sometimes. Like we know them personally or some shit. Like they know we're staying loyal.
Right. Like what the fuck? I don't even know.
Tupac knows I'm a loyal soldier.
Yeah. He'll recognize me one day.
Right. All right, top 3. I am taking us to 1994's Murder Was a Case soundtrack. And brought it up before, Natural Born Killers with Cube. We talked about the Helter Skelter project that never came. You know, I always thought this song would have fit in good on the Tales from the Hood soundtrack. It has that vibe. But just even the beginning, we're talking shit to that couple, and you hear the bullet traveling through the air, and right into that bloop, you like raindrop sound effect in the beat. I mean, perfect. Just perfect. Man, if we could have only got that record. But Natural Born Killers hadn't made it. It's so hard and so raw. I love that song. So that was my number three, Diz. What is yours?
My number three is nothing but a G thing. We've already kind of talked about it, but for all you youngins out there who weren't like there, when the Chronic came out, it was something else.
It was
Because
a
I
big
held
deal.
off, a long time, not also boycotting it. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
my man.
for some reason I could bump Doggy Style, but Chronic, no, that's where
Oh, you held out that long? Yeah, I didn't hold out that long.
But where I lived, everybody, like all these, I was too young to be drinking or doing anything, but I'd still show up at parties. We were having house parties, and the Chronic was playing at every party all the time, and it was just something else, man. The Chronic like brought a new like era, like a new style. Like it was just it was like a thing, almost tangible for the kids back then. The way that we were talking, dressing, it was all about Dre and Snoop. And this being a single, it was always like on the radio, and it was a big deal. And it was more than a song. When I think about it now, for me, it was like you can almost pinpoint a piece of time, and like if you were there in the '90s, how big gangster rap was getting, and this was one of those songs that helped lift it to like the masses. Just something else, hard to explain, but if you were alive back then, you know what I'm talking about. So nothing but a G thing. Number three for me.
It was a movement. It was amazing, like you said. And the whole G-Funk sound, I mean, all that just blew up so much. Number three, Raven.
I went with Dre Day, and it was
Wow, an easy diss track that high?
yeah. That's why I'm like, it hurt me when that song came out, but I remember feeling more like, can he fucking do that? You know what I mean? Like when that song, because Snoop Dogg, can he fucking do that? But I went out and bought the album the day, I dropped because is the whole album going to be like this? Is he going to be this aggressive on this album? Which I was all for because the like express yourself sides of Dre never really set with me. I always liked the more gangster, the more ruthless Dre. So yeah, Dre Day, as much as Easy is one of my top three rappers of all time. So as much as it hurts to say that in the top three is an Easy diss song, Dre Day is that good and that beat's that good.
And it led to some great responses. The easy responses, classic. Luke had
Favorite
a
EP ever probably
Ooh,
was that Easy EP.
Luke came back with Cards in Compton, such an underrated diss track. I mean, so it led to great things, which good diss songs usually do. But no, it's iconic. Number three, Brad, what do you got?
Raven and I are just following each other.
Again.
Uh, and so, again, I came into this with the Chronic, and everything that was said about Nothing But a G Thing, I echo that. But for me, I didn't have any. I love Easy now, but I was like, who is this guy Easy? This guy's got to be the biggest bitch alive, And so it took me a long time to like. I didn't buy Easy Does It until, I gotta say, maybe like 97, 96, 97. It took a few years, and I just bought it. Like, so many people kept saying Easy Does It is so good. I was like, the Chronic's best fucking record ever. And then there was a contingent of people I would talk to, be like, Chronic's great, but Easy Does It is real. But that, I mean, that was my introduction. Like, that video just makes Easy look like a bitch.
Yeah.
And Snoop and Dre and the beat, and the whole album was everywhere. And one of the greatest diss tracks ever. And this diss track is way better than anything Drake and Kendrick
Oh,
could even dream of. I mean, and
right.
and the video just I mean, there's so much good shit in there. But yeah, I was like fuck Easy E for a long time. But I've learned the error of my ways. Don't kill me. I love you.
Number 3, Riplak.
Nothing but a G thing. Back in high school, they used to call me Snoop Kramer because I used to sing this shit perfect with Dre and Snoop's voice, but I used to prank call people in Snoop's voice. I can still do it. It takes a little practice, but like I used to rap word for word Snoop perfect in his voice, like without like it was fucking weird. But so I'd karaoke that song as I got older and like, you know, showing my brother up. So hopefully he's watching this because he's gonna come up again in the next song. Yeah, we would just go back and forth. I'd be Snoop, he'd be Dre.
I won't put you on the spot and ask you to do the impression, even though part of me wants to.
It's been a long time, man. I can't risk it.
Every time I think I can do an impression, I used to think I could do a perfect Too Short impression, but when I would do it, other people would be like, that doesn't really sound like Too Short. But to me, it does. It sounds just like fucking Too Short. So that's why I'm not going to ask you to do it.
It's been a while. What if I can't do it anymore?
Right. Why even attempt and
Why even
take
try?
the chance? Yeah. That's a good lesson to the kids. Why even try? It might not work, so why even try? All right, number 2. And I wanted this to be 1, but I had to be real myself. It got bumped to 2, and we're going to 1992, but we're not going to the Chronic. We're going to the Deep Cover soundtrack. By far, my all-time favorite Dr. Dre beat. This is also iconic because it's the first time the world hears Snoop. And he kills it. They both kill it. But this beat is just so amazing. I'll take this beat over G Thing, over Dre Day, over any other Dre beat. But on the Dre Day single, there was a B-side track that was this song, but with different lyrics. And instead of being called Deep Cover, it was called 187. And that version is even better. It's the same hook and it's the same beat, but I even think the verses are better. And it was also on the 1 Million Strong compilation, that version of it too, why it ended up on there. But this beat gets me so hype. If I ever find myself in a position that I feel I need to go pull a drive-by, Deep Cover is the song I'm playing before I go bust shots. So I just love that beat. That's what got it so high. So Deep Cover. My number 2. What's your Diz?
Number 2, Natural Born Killers. And I know we've already talked about this at many lengths, so all I could really bring to it besides saying it's a dope beat is the guy who wrote Dr. Dre's lyrics for this and Keep Their Heads Ringing is Jay Flex, who was ghostwriting for Dre in those Death Row days. So it's a great song, though. Natural Born Killers.
Diss songs. Jay Flex made a Dr. Dre diss song after he left called Who Been There, Who Done That. Check it out. Jay Flex made this Dr. Dre diss track after Dre left Death Row. I'm trying to think. It was on one of them soundtracks, like Gang Related or Gridlocked. It was on one of them soundtracks. He has a Dre diss on there called Who Been There, Who Done That. Number 2, Raven, what you got?
So number 2, I'm gonna break your rules here. One of the first times I've ever broken your rules, but I went with Puppet Master with Be Real from the Soul Assassin soundtrack compilation. That fucking beat, there was no better beat that year produced than that Puppet Master beat. And it was awesome to see him with Be Real. I love the video, the whole like Good and Bad, the Devil and all that. Like I loved Puppet Master. That chorus, killer. Always loved that song.
I didn't even think of that song. That's a great damn song. That is a great damn song. That one never even crossed my mind. And he was doing a lot of, because that same era, he did like a song with LL Cool J on a soundtrack. Trying to think which one. Bulworth, the Bulworth soundtrack.
Yeah.
He was working, he had showed up on Nas's album that same era. But that Puppet Master is the shit. Fuck, yeah, I wish I would have thought about it.
I jump back and forth between that or Breaking the Rules with some No Diggity with Blackstreet and Queen 10. But I ended up going with Puppet Master just to stick with the hip hop theme a little bit.
No diggity, no doubt.
And side note about that deep cover, Pun and Joe did it better.
The Twins,
Oh,
98. Oh, they
I was gonna
destroyed
bring
it.
that up. I was gonna bring that up.
Pun absolutely murders that fucking beat.
So
He,
good.
yeah.
The dude
So
from
good.
Little Italy didn't do diddly or whatever. He just destroys it. Yeah.
Today at 42, I hear that verse and I'm still just like, what the fuck?
You're right. Pun destroys that. But it's the beat. It's such a dope beat.
That's crazy. Both our brains went right to pun when you brought that. Because I was gonna say that too when it was my turn.
Number 2, Brad, what you got?
I have got deep cover. This is
My
the
man.
original vinyl. This is actually really hard to find. It was super bootlegged. And unfortunately, when I went through and looked at my records, I had bought a bootleg copy. So I recently got this because I had to have this. And I had to pay premium to get it. I also have the 187 from the
Nice, the Dre Day. Yeah.
single as well too. But yeah, this was the Snoop Dogg introduction, right? I mean, I'd heard about it a little bit before I heard G Thing. People were talking about it, and then once G Thing came out, everyone really started talking again, and even more went back to the song. What's really surprising is it's not on Spotify streaming. I don't quite understand that because I was looking to play it today, and I had to just play it off YouTube. But yeah, I told you I'd be saying Dre and Snoop almost this whole time. I mean, that to me, they're just the winning combo. And Deep Cover's an awesome song.
One Diz, before when you were saying how you had to be there to truly understand what the Chronic was like, in the same vein, the way Snoop blew up and the anticipation for Doggy Style was off the charts. I mean, people were just screaming and fiending for Snoop's solo. Snoop was so freaking hot and popular at that time. It's amazing how he just shot up. That Doggy Style album, I mean, people were just waiting, begging for that shit to come out. I'm glad
He
you picked Deep
completely
Cover.
outshined Dre on every song on the Chronic, so it was not hard to anticipate Snoop's arrival with his own album.
Yeah, he definitely got popular instantly. I'm glad someone else appreciates Deep Cover. I've always loved that song. And it was important. The world hears Snoop for the very first time. Number 2, Riplak.
Yeah, Deep Cover made my honorables. And I don't think it's not one of my top 10s, but again, like once I heard Pun, I was like, all right, well, my number 2 is Bitches Ain't Shit. And that comes from, again, I'm gonna talk about my brother like the last one, but he went through a breakup and he's like, dude, I've been listening to this. I get in his car, listen over and over and over. And I was like, man. And so like that kind of became like my thing through like breakups. So it kind of made me feel good. It made him feel good, and I was like, all right, like I kind of like that. But I mean, it was a cool song, especially hearing it when I was young. Like, oh, that's gotta have that one on there.
And it's iconic. Everyone knows that line, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. I mean, we've all said it probably hundreds of times. Number 1, We Are There. And, I had to be real. I had to be honest. This is the best Dr. Dre song of all time. 1992 is The Chronic. Nothing but a G thing. It's an iconic song, iconic beat, iconic video. Who didn't like when you saw that fridge just stacked with 40 ounces? I mean, that was the coolest thing ever. When this beat hits, it's impossible not to vibe along. Had to be number 1. Everything else has been said. Nothing but a G thing is not only Dre's best song, it's one of the best hip hop songs, period, of all time. It's that iconic. So it had to be number 1. Diz, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is Dre Day, and
You too.
it's a tough one. But I had to think about it. I was like, I love that beat. It cannot be denied. The beat is just sick. Even though it's really what kicked off Dr. Dre, I think, as it separated him as just being a sidekick, and he was kind of coming into his own now, like he was a solo artist, even though the album is somewhat of a compilation. But as a his persona was no longer Eazy-E's sidekick, pretty much. And to be fair, this song really started what you could almost consider like real like divisions and gang and rivalries in on wax. You know, you got these labels and even sub labels of these artists just like throwing disses at each other. Even some of the lesser known artists that are related to
Right.
them throwing disses at each other. You know, we got like artists that came up almost off this beef, like BG Knockout and Dresta and the Dog Pound and these other little dissers like Little Half Dead and whatever. Anyways, this is part of the story. It doesn't need a big explanation like that, but it's an iconic track, and I love the beat. And yes, I'm a big Easy E guy, probably like my number one guy ever. So it's heartbreaking, but it's fair, you know. And Easy got his chance to retaliate as well. So hey, man, these guys are brothers, whatever. So I got to go with that as my number one song.
Number one, Raven. What's your number one?
Side note, I love Lil Half Dead. I wish more people
That
talked
first
about
Little Half Dead album is
Yes, yes.
amazing.
Even the second album still hit, but that
Right.
first one
That
is
first one,
stupid.
what had to be a
So,
hustler. Oh my God, what a
yeah,
great album. What a
more
great.
people should talk about him.
Woohoo.
So,
I agree. I agree.
I bought that
man,
because he was on the Chronic.
Such an
fuck yeah.
amazing album. Anyways, what's your
Uh,
number one?
my number one. So, in my opinion, this is probably the hardest, best gangster rap beat ever produced, and one of the best hip hop songs that ever recorded. It topped my list for Cube. It topped my list for soundtracks. Natural Born Killers. No beat in history has gotten me wanting to tear someone's fucking face off more than Natural Born Killers. And still, like, I'll be on the highway with this, just going, getting it, because fuck them. Like, I love that song.
No, I think it made everyone's list, right? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
amazing song. Yeah, nothing else that can really be said about it. Brad, what's your number one?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. It's the song that got me into hip hop. Nothing but a G thing. Like everyone said, I can rap it from start to finish when it comes on, and I try to do the voices too during the song. I'm sure I do a good job, but I can at least rap it perfectly. It's one of those songs I've heard over and over and over and over and over again, and yet it never ever gets old. Like I was listening to it today, and I was like, because I just love rapping along with it. It's awesome. It's a great song. The sample is awesome. For me, it was I coming from more of a like a rock background. When hip hop moved towards a more musical era where they were sampling, and the other thing is like I think maybe we all should say this, and maybe y'all knew Parliament and Funkadelic. I had never known these songs. Like I grew up in a white family. We didn't listen to Funkadelic and Parliament. And so all of this stuff was brand new to me. And then only later did I go back and people were like, hey, that's a Parliament sample. That's a Parliament. I was like, well, who is this group? So then I went back and bought all the Parliament records and the Funkadelic records. And when I throw those records on, I hear those samples and I'm like, oh my God, this was like the 90s era of hip hop was all, all these songs that were like totally huge that I never heard, that hip hop brought that music to me. Because I had no direction. I had parents that just didn't. My mom listened to Motown, but like Supremes and stuff like that. And my dad didn't listen to music. So it opened up my eyes to a whole new like era of music that I had never heard. And then it was even cooler because it was like those records sound great, but then you got guys talking like gangsta shit over it, made it even better. So yeah, this is it. This is what me going from metalhead to baggy pants and whatever else, throwing up the dubs and that was the song for me that got me into hip hop. So of course it's my number one.
All right, number one, Riplak, what's yours?
One of my biggest regrets ever is not putting Natural Born Killers on my list, which would have been number one, I swear to God. But I'm going to be fair and I'm going to keep it the way it is. But for some reason, that just didn't cross my mind through this whole Dre thing. It's a shame. But I picked Let Me Ride as a kid that grew up around corn out in the country, like this rap shit, and it was so interesting to me. And seeing like the videos for all these, like Let Me Ride, made that shit like out west look so cool, and it got me into West Coast hip hop so much to this day. I've been listening to West Coast my whole life, mainly partly because of this song.
Right.
So Let Me Ride is definitely my number one Trey song.
Great sample too. I love the sample.
Yeah.
Talking about samples, the sample from Let Me Ride.
Okay.
And speaking of Parliament. All right, we made it to the end. If you're listening for the first time, I do honorable mentions if nobody mentioned this song and I thought it needed some love. I'm just gonna quick shout it out. From the Chronic, no one mentioned D's Nuts. It's most iconic for the intro. But the song itself is good. I always like Brother with a Gun. From 2001, The Watcher. I thought that might sneak on someone's list. And nobody had Next Episode. I thought that would make a list too. And there's one more on Compton I like, Deep Water. But that was my honorable mentions. We missing anything?
No, a few of those would have been.
Even shake his head when you mentioned something off Compton. I saw that. I'm totally fucking sorry.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's such a hater. I mean, damn.
I'm with you, man. That album was the biggest disappointment. I was so excited, and I listened to it once. I was like, bin that shit. Fuck that. No.
No, I did the same thing. I didn't listen to it for 5 years after the first like 2 times I listened to it. It kind of, I don't know what it is. Maybe it just caught me in a soft state this week, or
You've been listening to too much Drake.
yeah. See, I was listening to the Drake and Kendrick disses, so when I heard Compton, I was like, "Well, this ain't bad." Right. That's what it was. You unlocked the key. That's exactly what it was.
Hey, I remember, Raven, you had Forever on your Eminem list. Drake.
Yeah.
It's Kanye. It's Kanye and that's all.
Yeah, right.
I wanted to mention real quick, if you guys haven't heard King T, the Aftermath record, it's on Spotify. There's some Dre beats on there and a couple features, I think, from him, but that's worth a listen, especially if you like Dr. Dre.
Yeah, and they just released it for the first time officially because there was like bootleg versions of it, Thy Kingdom Come, but now they officially released it. It's a double disc. I bought the CD. I think it went out on. Yeah, it's on. I bought it on. What's that website? Rap Bay, I think it is. It's got a lot of West Coast. That's where I bought it from. It's a double album. It's the entire Thy Kingdom Come from '98. But Dr. Dre is done. Have a good night, everyone. And we keep West Coast going next week when we do NWA. So it's been great. Have a good night.
Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy, too bold for the school, still a B-boy, East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.